Hey, let's save some money depanelizing your boards at home. What's up, internet friends? Today we're going to be depanelizing some boards and going over a couple of different ways that you can cut out some PCBs. So I got these boards back from the fab, and I opted to have all of them connected as one solid piece. I could have had the fab route out each piece, but it would have cost extra. And so since I knew this was going to be just a prototype board, I didn't want to pay the extra for it, and I figured I would just cut out the different circuit boards myself. There's a number of ways that you can do this. We're going to go over a few different ways to do it by hand. You can use like a tile saw if you've got a lot of these things, but you'd want to do that outside with proper ventilation, just because you don't want to be breathing fiberglass dust. So let's take a look at a few different methods of cutting some PCBs. So before we get into my pie kiln board, we're going to take a look at just cutting some perf board. So this is just some scrap that I had laying around. Some people like to use tin snips, and tin snips work really great if it's something small. I find that when you cut a large piece of PCB, it tends to curl up and it's not great, but it's fine for smaller things. So like if I were to cut across here, that's fine. This PCB is pretty old and chips away a lot. But if I were to try and cut down this way, here, I'll show you. You're gonna see some curling and chipping. You see, not great. So another way that you can do it is you can use a knife. So this is just a normal box knife with a fresh blade on it. You're going to dull a lot of blades using this technique, but you can just, you don't even really need a ruler for this. You can kind of use the holes. So I'm just going to cut down. So you just got to score it a bunch of times. And then this is important, you have to flip it over and make sure that you cut on the other side the same, down the same path. So I'm just going to flip this over. Score it a few times. Alright, I didn't leave myself much room to snap it over there, but there you go. There you go. Nice clean cut. So what I like using other than a box knife is actually this. And this is a plastic cutting tool. I'll find a link and put it in the description. So this is a little bit different than the box knife. It's got more of a V to it. Which you can actually order circuit boards with V-grooving on it, and this is going to accomplish the same sort of effect where it cuts a notch. The knife does the same thing, it's just that it's a much thinner score to it. This is a nice thick score. So I'm just going to do the same sort of thing again. Just cut down the trace. Kind of a fun sound. Then keep going. All right. So this snaps apart. Same thing. I like this tool a little bit better than the knife, just because you don't have to do as many passes, and it doesn't chew up a bunch of blades. Let me show you the third method that I like using, and that is this is a paper cutter. This is the cheapest paper cutter you can get off Amazon. As soon as you start using this for circuit boards, you're going to start really dulling the blade. I wouldn't use it for paper after that. So we're going to take our circuit board and just line up where you want to cut. Just trying to line it up with a hole right here. Okay, so that's all lined up. And you just hold down real tight. Bam. There you go. So this works pretty well. It's pretty cheap, and yeah. So this is definitely my favorite method. You don't have to do as much work. It's just one chop. You're done. You just have to be really pressed down on the circuit board. You don't want it shifting around where you're cutting it. You know, when you're pushing down on the blade, it tends to pull. So you just got to make sure that it doesn't move. So now let's take a look at cutting this. So I'm going to go with the paper cutter to cut this guy. And the nice thing about it is, so these boards that I got back are 0.8 millimeters thick, which is about half the thickness of a normal circuit board. So it'll cut really easily. You guys can see I put a line on both sides right on top of one another, just so that I can line it up and cut it. So I'm just gonna line it up on the paper cutter, hold down real tight, and there you go. Depanelize that. So we'll just do the same thing over here. And there you go. If you look at some of these circuit boards, you can see where the copper ends. So there's a change in color. It's a little bit lighter here and it's darker on the edge. You want to make sure that you're not cutting through the copper. That's going to be bad for a few different reasons. One, it's going to wreak some havoc on your blade. And two, you could potentially short out. You know, right now I have a ground plane on the top and bottom, so it'd probably be okay. But you know, you don't want to, if you had ground on the bottom and power on the top, you wouldn't want to short those out. Anyway, that was depaneling with a few different methods. These are probably my least favorite. The only time I would ever really use tin snips like this is for very short traces. Like, if I had something like this where it was pretty thin and I could do it in one go, then boom, fine. But as soon as you start doing these longer sorts of cuts, you get that curling and it's not great. So now that these are all depaneled, I'm going to start testing them out, and hopefully they work. And eventually what I'd like to do is just have the fab do all the cutting for me, and then all I'm doing is removing tabs at the end of this, rather than trying to cut out everything by myself. I'm just snipping the corners and calling it a day. I hope this helped you out with depanelizing some of your boards. I'll put links in the description so you can buy one of these paper cutters or this cutting tool. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe for more, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.